Hello everyone and welcome, it's Eclectic Kelpie, and this is Adult Colored Glasses, the show where I rewatch media from my childhood satirically and sincerely. And today, we are going to be doing part 2 of our Aladdin the Animated Series watch with episode 30, Elementary, My Dear Jasmine. Because in the last one, like I had said, it was so difficult to pick between The Garden of Evil and Elementary, My Dear Jasmine, because both of these were so iconic and so ingrained into my memory from childhood, and I just couldn't decide, so we're watching both. If you haven't yet seen part 1, you can go and watch it before or after this video, because they are a little bit mutually exclusive in the sense that what we talk about here is not necessarily going to overlap too much, but both these episodes, of course, are from Aladdin the Animated Series. But yes, certainly the early 2000s mermaid propaganda was strong, and I completely fell for it. I was so into it. I love the mermaid stuff. Obviously Disney perpetuated positive mermaid representation as well with The Little Mermaid, but also like H2O Just Add Water, which was also fantastic. But there was like a lot of mermaid stuff going on, and I was so here for it because it's just like fun fantasy, you know? Like, they're just such a cool mythical creature, and like dark mermaid folklore is fantastic, but also of course the like lighter fun whimsical mermaids are also really cool as well. So this is going to be a combination of both because of course it's Disney, so obviously they couldn't go like too crazy with it in terms of like the siren energy, but she's still got that siren energy. I think her name was Celine. This is the mermaid episode of Aladdin the Animated Series also. But I feel like this was like a really perfect balance because she is the villain of the story, but also she's still really cool and fun. I usually prefer the villains anyways, so. But yes, very excited to jump in today. I did lots more preamble in part 1, so I think we're just gonna jump right into this one and get started on the episode. I'm really excited. This one and Garden of Evil were like top tier, so I'm very excited to rewatch this one again today as well. So without further ado, we're going to dive into Aladdin the Animated Series, episode 30, Elementary, My Dear Jasmine. The mermaid episode. It's gonna be fantastic. Ready. Side note, but like, why are the beach episodes usually some of the best episodes? For your consideration. Because I present to you Avatar Amber Island Players. Pretty damn good. Or not Amber Island Players, although that one is very, very, very good. But the one where like Zuko and Tylee and Azula and May all go to the beach, and then it's like the emotionally vulnerable one where they're all like, here's our trauma. And yeah, I feel like beach episodes are always good because it's kind of the downtime where the characters are all like just hanging out, relaxing, and you get so much more from it, like their inner thoughts, and kind of like, because it's like a filler episode, there's more breathing room. Aw, see, they're just hanging out, they're just having a good time, they're just happy until, what a question. Jasmine's like, Aladdin, did you date other girls before me? But like, okay, I will always be the girl's girl and the girl's side. But like, you can't get upset if you're asking a question and he answers it honestly. Like, at least be happy he answered it honestly. If he's like, oh yeah, I dated like a lot of other people before you. I mean, he could have said it in a nicer tone in terms of like, oh, yes, like I had a significant number of other partners before you and I got together, but like that's not a determinant factor of my fidelity and the quality of our relationship. Like, you know, there's kind of a better way to say it other than in a bragging tone. But like, you can't get mad if he's just telling you the truth. Like, girl, a little questionable. She needs more girlfriends. Because, yeah, okay, I mean, like, this is pretty funny, and, like, yes, like, you've gotten a bit disheveled from a wave, and they're laughing at you, but, like, the girls would go and, like, help, right? They would laugh at you relentlessly, and bring it up every single second of every other day. But, like, you'd get support. Like, it would become a collection, like, a collective joke. Like, it would be, like, oh, remember that one time that you, like, got, like, swept away by the ocean and then you were a mess? But, like, it would be endearing and loving and supportive, and, like, they would still help you clean yourself up. Even though they were laughing. So, like, she just needs more girlfriends. Why are there not more women in this show? There's, like, literally just her and then the one evil mermaid. Like, disrespectful. Yeah, like, she has a right to be really pissed off that they're just, like, standing there laughing at her when she's, like, in a state. The queen herself. I think that's so funny. She has to be a siren. She's siren, not a mermaid, because she's, like, she literally drowned this human and was like, hello, sailor, I'm gonna dismember your drowning corpse. Like, that was the energy, like, very classic. So, like, but I already love her. Obsessed. She's so cool. She's so fun. But yeah, go queen. Yes, she even self-proclaims she is a siren, and her name is Celine. Memory locked. So fantastic. Obsessed. What a queen. Yeah, I would go to the watery depths. Hang out with her. She's cool. Mermaid episode, they had to make a reference. Insert Disney in Disney. But also, like, wouldn't that be actually kind of terrifying and horrible and awful, actually, if you really think about, like, an octopus doing your hair? Because I actually don't know what the anatomy of an octopus is, but you, like, would that just be, like, the worst thing ever? Even if it was, like, sentient and, like, it wasn't just, like, the kind of octopus that we have in our world, but, like, a magical world octopus. Like, wouldn't it still feel, like, awful? And, like, the tentacle suckers would just, like, cause issues, I feel. So maybe this would be... you know what? I love this. Love the mermaid fantastical world. I think I would prefer a forest. I think being sequestered away and taken to a magical forest versus a magical underwater cove, I'm probably going to the garden. I don't know if younger me would have said the garden, but I think younger me would have said the mermaids, because I was so obsessed, and, like, water and everything. I still love being in water and stuff, but, like, I think it's gonna have to be the forest or the garden, you know? But, like, still, love, we could do a visit. We could do, like, a weekend getaway to this magical mermaid alcove, but then go back to my enchanted garden. Celine. She's just not a girl's girl. Although, I do have to say, her immediately being like, Jasmine, he's not good enough for you. Like, you should, like, drown him. He's kind of not that great, to be honest. I know, like, a lot of people romanticize Aladdin, but he's kind of, like, not that great. Maybe I'll do the, like, original movie and do more dissecting into the characters. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, love that. Clearly the theme of this episode is gonna be, like, romantic fidelity and, like, appreciating your loved ones and, like, loyalty above everything else, which, love that. Yes, we need that. Good messaging. But, like, if she could take, like, Jasmine, yeah, obviously you don't want, like, some other person to flirt with your partner. Like, that would be uncomfortable and unfortunate. However, if she can take him, let him go. He's not for you. Let him go. That just means he ain't shit. Questionable. I feel like this is gonna be I don't know. This is gonna be quite the episode, I think. It'll be very interesting to see perspective shifts, because there's already perspective shifts happening. But anyways, yeah. Ugh, Celine. I mean, we support women's rights and women's wrongs here, so, like, is it just that she's a siren? It's just in her nature that she's gonna try and, like, steal this man and then drown him? Like, who are we to judge her? Who are we to take away her life's purpose? I don't know. Feels a little bit disrespectful. So, I want a jewelry box, clamshell, pearl pearl projector that just like produces different jewelry onto my person every single day, because that would be fantastic. Okay, I want the magic of the under the sea with the life in the garden that is magical. Crossover episode, bring the two together, perfect world. Good to go. I also... Is Jasmine always getting kidnapped in these episodes? Like, is Jasmine always just... Because that would perturb me a lot if her whole character is boiled down to... Because she is, like, a strong, rebellious, like, fighter. She's very, like, moral high ground. She has a lot of personality, and she's quite, like, a good character. Like, she's a good princess. Of the Disney princesses, I think that, like, her characterization is very well done. So, like, it would perturb me greatly if her whole being was reduced down to she's gonna get captured, Aladdin's gonna come save her, she's, like, the damsel in distress, but she's not actually a damsel in distress because she's gonna continue to fight back, and she's, like, independent, but also she's still, like, constantly getting used as the propeller of action in terms of, like, oh, Jasmine's kidnapped. Like, it's giving the Buffy quote of, like, oh, Dawn's, like, kidnapped again, it must be Tuesday. Like, it's just not cute if that's how they're using her character, is just to be, like, I don't know, because she's also, like, the only woman. Why is she the only woman? This is not Bechdel, okay? Crazy. And even this... Actually, no, I feel like this is not Bechdel, because they're entirely talking about, like, Aladdin. So, girl, decentralize. This is crazy. Seriously, though, like, I mean, I've only watched the 2 episodes that I, like, vividly remember from childhood, and they are, like, they were my favorites, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I must have had the VHS of at least one of these 2, because I just remember vividly so much watching these, specifically these 2 episodes. I feel like it's just crazy. The 2 episodes, I mean, out of how many seasons, genuinely, it's still kind of wild that she's constantly getting kidnapped. Well, I mean, I guess she was kidnapped because it was on purpose. The wave came over to bring her down to the depths of the ocean on purpose. So, I don't know. Maybe she needs to start taking, like, a self-defense class or something. Maybe she needs to get, like, a magical amulet that, like, prevents this situation. Of course, then there would be no plot. But then that is quite telling, isn't it? It's quite telling that their motivation always has to be rescue Jasmine because she's been propelled into, because she's not even stupid. Like, she's not even doing anything that's like it's all against her own agency. Frustrating, because if she was doing something, of course then we would scream at her for different reasons, but if she was doing something active to get into positions where she would get kidnapped, then that would be an entirely different conversation. But it's just entirely against her own agency that things just keep happening to her within these 2 episodes that have happened, because the first one was her dad, like, making a deal that then he basically sold her soul to the devil kind of thing. Like, he made a deal in exchange for his own life to, like, sell his daughter, basically. It's more complicated than that, but, like, that's kind of the bare bones of this. And so, like, against her own agency, like, she didn't have a say in that bargain. And then same thing with this. She's just hanging out at the beach, and then all of a sudden she's dragged down by someone else, like, it's just completely without her own, like, out of her own control. And so that feels very, like, it's a lazy plot device to try and tell stories just through, like, oh, Jasmine has gotten kidnapped, and it's not even from her own actions. It's just other people asserting things onto her. And so, like, yeah, it just feels a little bit lazy in terms of storytelling, that's the propulsion of action. But also, I don't know if that's in the majority of the episodes of this show, or if that's just, like, the 2 that we just happened to watch out of the entire series. Like, who could say? Because I don't remember the entire series. But if that is the trend, then that's really unfortunate that she was entirely reduced down to just the damsel, the actionable motivator to propel a story, because it just reduces her entirely, because she is such a very well done and fleshed out character that to then make her into just the like object of need for saving, it's kind of a waste, and it's just disrespectful to her as a character and sexist. Although I really have to say, Disney does such good underwater animation. Like, Little Mermaid obviously was fantastic. Like, I loved all the hand-drawn bubbles and everything. Like, it's so beautiful. But Disney does underwater so well. Because, like, this isn't the best still to stop on in terms of that. But, like, there's just so much color and so much, like, vibrancy. And you can really feel, like, the underwater ecosystem that they have created within this piece of animation, and it's just delightful and fantastic and beautiful, and I'm very pleased. So honestly, the animation for the animated series is not really that bad. Like, it's not the movie quality, but like I was saying in part 1 with the Garden of Evil, like, it's really not offensively bad quality. Like, I guess it's still Disney. Like, Disney still has a lot of money. Even if it's not the same budget, it was still, like, must have been a decent enough budget. And some of the voice actors they got to come back again, like Gilbert Gottfried is Iago, and, Steve from Full House is Aladdin again. Like, they really did quite a good job with making the series, so I'm quite pleased. Also, I love this for her. I love that she has her own powers, that she's just like, I can go onto land, like, why not? Let me enjoy. I can be in the water, let me enjoy it. See, like, this is the best kind of mermaid, is when you can control it. H2O, not so good. You immediately turn into a mermaid when you are immersed in water or you get splashed. Little Mermaid, she is only a mermaid, and she has to outsource magic in order to be able to transform her person. Celine, that's the best kind of mermaid. Like, she's got it. She's got her own power. She's got her own autonomy over her body and her visage and how she is presented herself. Love it. If this was the kind of mermaid that I could be, I would be this kind of mermaid. Maybe without the, like, murderous intent. I mean, who knows? Who could say? But, like, this is the kind of mermaid. This is shameful rhetoric. This is crazy. Don't listen to Iago. They're, like, getting upset that Jasmine was upset that they were laughing at her for, like, getting pulled in by the waves, which is, like, super dangerous, to be honest. That happened to me once when I was in Hawaii when I was, like, 10 years old. On my family vacation, me and my sister were like, and it was hilarious. When it was happening to my sister, it was hilarious. But then it happened to me, and then I was like, oh my god, this is, like, so dangerous, and you can't get your footing. And, like, yeah, she ended up being okay, but, like, that's crazy. That's crazy to be, like, upset that someone's upset for you making them feel bad about themselves. This is why it shouldn't be just men. This is why there needs to be another woman in this group, because they're all basically, like, confirmation bias and the, like, circle of groupthink mentality. It's fortifying this idea that Jasmine's in the wrong for being upset that they were mean to her, and that she should just get over it and just, like, oh, we still, like, oh, oh, it's not a big deal, like, oh, it's fine. Like, no, that's crazy. That's crazy that they're, like, upset with her and not wanting to take accountability for being assholes. And then they're like, actually, women should just, like, worship the ground that you walk on, because, like, they should just be grateful that they even have a man. And it's like, what the fuck? What were we teaching children? This is insane. I'm displeased. This is horrible messaging. At least this particular thing is horrible messaging. What are you doing? Just go apologize. Just be like, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry that we made you feel bad about yourself and that you got, like, pulled out to sea. Frankly, you did look kind of funny. So, like, involuntary laughter it happens, but like I am super sorry that this made you feel that way, and also that we didn't prioritize care for your well-being over just being assholes to laugh at you because you had seaweed on your head. I don't know. It feels like it's not that hard. Below the bare minimum. Just throw Yago away, I guess. Just the one. Just that one. Genie is at least like, yeah, Genie kind of like did the little show of like, what's the deal with women, which, shut up. But like, at least he's like, actually, you know what, we're all jokes, it's fine, I just want to find, let's go find Jasmine. Yago's like, actually, you should fucking cheat. You should go and hang out with this new girl because she's so cool, look at her pearls, she must be rich. Like, for real? What the fuck? Oh, and then that's Aladdin's response is, oh, Jasmine's rich too. Like, dump him. Throw him into the sea. Celine has the right idea on something. Throw him into the sea. Okay, but I also hate her for this too, because, like, stop touching people. Like, I don't know. I feel like that you're not there. There's been no consent. There's been no, like, understanding. Like, literally, look at his face. Like, he's like, I'm not having this. And she's like, oh, but, like, what if you did have this? And he's like, actually, no. I just don't agree with, like, because I don't think that there's a distinction between, like, when a guy does it versus a girl does it. But if you're touching somebody without their, like, wanting to touch you, that's just immediately, you're done. So, I can't really support this wrong. Like, stop grabbing at people. Like, it's gross. It's just gross. No matter who's doing it, it's just yucky. So, don't do that. But yeah. Yeah, unfortunate. But if she can take him, she can have him. But it's not working, and so she should stop. That was, like, this close to swearing? The two-faced fish? Jasmine. Crazy. I appreciate it, though. That's kind of cool, though. An underwater, like, teleportation system where you could, like, any, like, water that is out in the world that you could, like, transport yourself to. That's also a really good traveling system. I kind of like that. Because, you know, like, teleportation would be really fun, but this is kind of like little, like, underwater portals, and that's quite magical and whimsical. I like it. Also, yeah, this is again, like, the texture of, like, the coral, and this one's not super colorful because they really are obviously, like, focusing on that this is, like, the magical water portal to Agrabah, or, like, the window into Agrabah, but, like, yeah, like, you can see the different, like, kelps and corals and the rock formations, and it all very looks so, like, organic, and there's, like, a little bit of, like, a darkness to it, which is also really fun and indicative of, like, the person who lives there and who owns this underwater cavern space, and I like that. Yeah, I just love the backgrounds. Like, always, what is my favorite thing most of the time is, like, the landscapes and the background art. So, like, this is really doing it for me. Girl, it's not about her, though. Like, you know, I hate this trope, and I feel like maybe we're moving away from it, but I feel like not really. Is the, like, the setup is, oh, this girl is gonna go and try and steal this other girl's man, right? But then the other girl, like, is able to do it. And rather than the original girl being like, oh, I'm gonna go and get mad at my man for being unfaithful, she gets mad at the woman. But it's like, the woman has nothing to do with it. Like, that's not your partner. Like, you can't really control, well, you can't control anybody's behavior at full stop. Like, if Aladdin was gonna go and cheat and, like, you know, whatever he decided to do, like, he also is free to do that because he has his own autonomy. And though it is not respectful or consensual within your partner relationship, which that's a boundary that's between, like, the two people, And that's just, like, has to be negotiated with the terms and conditions of service. You know what I mean? Like, when you are developing your relationship, you're making those agreements, and you're having what your boundaries are in terms of, is this a monogamous relationship? Is this a polyamorous relationship? Like, whatever you're doing, that's on you two. That's got to be what you two decide. But there's no accountability for that woman to another woman other than just being a shitty girl's girl. Like, because in this economy, in this day and age, you got to be a girl's girl. But she isn't. The mermaid is clearly not. So Celine, shame, but moving on. It's not Celine that is the problem. It would be Aladdin that would be the problem. So Jasmine being like, oh, I'm gonna go get this bitch, like, she's, like, I'm gonna make her, like, I'm gonna go and, like, kick her in the face kind of thing. Like, she's getting really angry at Celine. Granted, that is fair, because Celine did deliberately say, like, I'm gonna go steal your man. So, like, yeah, she can be upset that she deliberately went to go and steal her man. But she can't really be that upset at Celine if Aladdin is the one who's not going to be faithful, because Aladdin is the one that holds accountability to Jasmine within that dynamic of their relationship. Be mad at the man. The woman has nothing to do with it, genuinely. I think that 90% of the time, the other woman has nothing to do with it, because she's not accountable to you. Unless it was, like, your bestie, and then your bestie is going and being awful, but that's an entirely different situation, because both of those two people have accountability to you in your own relationship dynamics. But this is a stranger who's like an evil mermaid siren stranger, and Aladdin is her partner. So her being mad at the siren for being a siren rather than being mad at Aladdin for being a shitty partner, that's not right. But also, he's not really being, like, an entirely shitty partner, because he is asserting that he does want to go and find his girlfriend, and Celine is being not correct with, like, still grabbing at him and, you know, whatever, and trying to physically manipulate him. So that's kind of a nice subversion of the trope to see, but it still doesn't make it right. But anyways, yeah, go get your mans. Don't get the woman, like, I don't know. Anyways, beautiful, more backgrounds. Look at that. I love the coloring. It's almost like iridescent, pearl-ish. I like it. They never do octopuses correct. It's always 6. They never draw 8. I feel like with The Little Mermaid, they were like, well, The Little Mermaid, they kind of did a cop-out, because Ursula's arms were technically, like, the 8th of the tentacles, but, like, here, there's only 6. I guess it's easier to draw, but, like, it's not an octopus. I don't even know if it could be considered a squid then, because it's clearly an octopus. It's not an octopus. I love that. I adore that. Look at her go ride the fish. It's like, I don't know, it's whimsical and magical, and she's riding a fish. What's her goal, though? Like, what's the like end result here? You know what I mean? Like, because she's not trying to, like, actually be with this man. You know, like, is she trying to, is she just, like, wanting to, like, oh, he's gonna fall in love with her, and then she's gonna take him down to the watery depths and drown him? Like, what is the end result? I just don't really understand her motivation. Unless it's just literally like, oh, I'm gonna break up this couple, and then I'm going back to my ocean, and I'll be, like, happy and live happily ever after. Like, what does she actually want? Because it's not clear. And I feel like the motivation matters in terms of a long-term goal, because, like, she's trapped Jasmine in the pool, like, in the ocean, in her little underwater section of the magical ocean, until she returns to it. So either she's intending to never return to her own home, which, like, why would you want to live in this economy on land? Like, are you crazy? No. Certainly not. But, like, what does she actually want then? Is she trying to, like, drown him? Is she trying to just, like, make a point of, like, oh, I'm so cool, I can get anybody I want? Like, what do you... Girl, find the power and security within yourself. You don't need the validation from a man. No, you do not. What are you getting out of this? I don't know. It just feels very flimsy. I think, oh man, this is crazy, because I remember liking this one more because I love the mermaid and magical whimsical stuff, but I think I actually like the garden one, like the Garden of Evil, more because there was more to it. There was more, like, I mean, the villain was fantastic. The motivations and the logical, like, thought behind his motivations and actions was, like, very strong and very clear. The moral debate around having, like, plant life versus human life versus life in general, like, where is the value and where is the line in terms of what can be considered, like, great harm, and is killing a flower the same as killing a person. Like, it was just, like, very, like, deep, like, because, and killing like, obviously I go more into it, like, in the episode, so I won't go too crazy here, but, like equating one life for another life being the same thing. And so, like, that it was so deep, and it was so good, and it was so, like, thought-provoking. This is kind of just I don't feel like this is as strong as I remember it being. And that's quite disappointing, because it's literally just, like, Jasmine, I'm gonna steal your man, and Jasmine's like, no you ain't, and then Aladdin's like, I don't think you will, even though you're cute, like, I have a lady, thank you. And then Iago is just, like, actually the worst ever. And then Genie is still having to, like, be Aladdin's conscience a little bit, like, hey, don't forget about Jasmine. Aladdin's like, no, I haven't forgotten about Jasmine, but then he's, like, still sitting here with her like this, and, like, I don't know, you can vocalize that you're uncomfortable and say, hey, please don't, like, grab onto my person anymore. You can do that, and he hasn't. He's just chilling with her like this. So, I don't know. This one doesn't feel as deep. Doesn't feel as, like, thought-provoking. I love the magic. I love the, like, powers of Celine the Siren, and, like, the concept of the episode is still fun, but it's just kind of, it's not as good, I feel, perhaps. Still have, like, 10 minutes left, so we'll see how it goes. Although I really like Celine in terms of her little, like, splashes of dialogue. Like, she has a lot of funny, like, one-liner, like, quips. And she's still, like, a fun-ish villain, just in terms of her characterization. But her motivation is stupid, and I don't understand what her motivation is, because they don't touch on it. What is her actual goal? What does she actually want? And so, like, yeah, this is a weaker episode in comparison, and it's kind of disappointing, but, like, there's still, like, a lot of fun moments, but I don't know. Well, we still have, again, like, the 10 minutes left, so we'll see how we go. Ugh, okay, yeah, like, this is, like, I feel like we shouldn't gender this kind of behavior. It's not acceptable when women do it, and it's not acceptable when men do it, but it's not acceptable behavior. And I feel like if it was a man doing this, and a man was being all, like, creepy and pushy onto, like, Jasmine, then we would collectively be like, oh my gosh, this is, like, unacceptable. This is just too much. Like, it would be such a different standard, but I feel like this is still just as bad. Like, stop trying to, like, physically assert yourself onto another person's body. It's just, like, gross. Kill Iago. Send him to the volcano and push him into the lava. Goodbye. Okay, I like her. She, like, yeah, okay. If you turn off it's very difficult because that's literally through the lens in which I watch these things. But if you turn off the, like, critical analysis component, then it's just fun, because she's literally like, oh, Aladdin, maybe your love for Jasmine is truly forever, and maybe for me this whole thing is just a cruel game in which I get to, like, play and manipulate other people's feelings and just, you know, like, go about my day, but I'm not gonna lose because I've decided that we're playing this game. And so, like, she's an icon. I'm super here for her, and I'm obsessed. But, like, oh yeah, you really can't watch this particular episode through any type of, like, critical lens, because then it's just the worst, because it's just fighting over a man is what it's boiled down to. And yeah, again, like, that's good. They're talking about fidelity. They're talking about, like, you know, make sure that you're staying faithful to your partner, all, like, that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's all very questionable. Also, her powers are really fucking cool. This is really, really cool. Like, in water manipulation to the extreme degree. Love it. Here for it. She's super cool. That's crazy. You know, it really is the downfall and demise of every single narcissistic villain is, like, make them think that they've won, or, like, they're so confident that they can't lose, that they're going to lose because they haven't thought of other ways to ensure that they don't lose because they are so assured that they won't. Yeah. So she could have done so many other things to assure her victory, and yet she was fooled by her own combination of insecure attachments that she needs somebody else to validate her, but also her extreme overconfidence and superiority complex that makes her think that there's no other possibility other than her getting what she wants. And I mean, of course, she's probably very accustomed to getting what she wants. That was a really smart plan, ultimately. The trapdoor, the surprise, that was good. That was very good writing. Pleased. And good for Jasmine. She still, like, you know, it's like almost there. It's like almost there. I really like her characterization. I like her traits. I like what, you know, like how they've presented her. I just don't like how they use her. But at least she, like, does support herself in getting herself out of the situations that she had been put in against her own agency. So 50-50. Yeah, maybe she is actually, like, trying to drown him. Maybe, like, maybe that was, like, the goal, is, like, oh, he has to fall in love with her and then she's gonna just, like, drown him. Or is it that she just got mad that he didn't, like, submit to her will and then she's, like, drowning him as a consequence? It's very unclear, and I would like some clarity on, like, what the actual motivation is, because I feel like that would sell me more. I feel like there's just too much that's not clear within the villain, and I feel like the whole point is just the messaging of fidelity, which, again, is fine, but, like, it's just... this is the problem. See, this is the problem with this. And I'm, like, the villain of the Garden of Evil, like, Arbutus, was so strong and such a good villain and had such very clear and fantastic motivations and ideologies and why he was behaving the way that he was, whereas this feels just so, like, oh, she's just a petty woman, and she's just trying to, like, steal somebody else's man. But it's like, why, though? Because if it's just, like, it just doesn't, it's not a strong story if it's just because. So I would really like clarity for her, to make her a more developed character, to make her a fully fledged, like, realized, actualized character, and then make her a more compelling villain, because I want to like her, and she's got really good, like, sassy one-liner dialogue, and she's, like, interesting, but she's so hollow and not fleshed out, and that it just kind of, like, takes away from what I think could be a really amazing episode with a lot of amazing components. And I feel like they fell short on that just simply because they just didn't know how to use the woman very well. So it's disappointing. You know, they can't make her so powerful. This is so stupid. They can't make her so powerful and, like, have all of these amazing, like, ocean powers. They're literally in the ocean right now, and then thwart her with a net, and then make her useless at the end just so that the heroes can win. You can't, this is bad writing. This is writing them into a corner, because they've set this woman up as being incredibly powerful, as having entire, basically, control over her domain. Like, she is the be-all end-all of this part of the ocean, right? Like, she made it very clear, like, she controls this world. So, like, if she controls this world, then how is she being thwarted with a net? Like, how is she being taken out in this manner? Like, I love that they're giving Jasmine her moment. Like, Jasmine got her in the net, and Jasmine's, like, pulling her, like, she's like, doing the work now. But it feels so fake, because you've set this villain up to be this thing, and so now because you have to wrap it up in the next, like, 3 minutes, we gotta wrap this up, they're, like, taking away the cool parts of this siren and making her lame. Just because they're like, oh, we gotta finish in our time limit and the children won't care. And the children clearly didn't care, because I don't think that I had a problem with it, but now I just feel like it didn't land quite the same. It's quite disappointing. They still had to work out the disrespect. Anyways, I don't know. Questionable. It got turned around a lot, because it was kind of messy, because the whole reason, the catalyst to this was he was kind of an asshole to her and laughed at her misery. And, like, clearly she was, like, really upset about it and wasn't ready to laugh about it herself. And so, like, all of the men in this show, because all of them are boys, and just Jasmine, they all were making fun of her. And there's a degree to which, like, yeah, you can make fun of your friends and, like, you can banter, but if somebody's, like, genuinely upset about it, like, this is not the time. It's not the time. So I feel like that still needed to be, like, a thing. And so him being an asshole to her and then her getting trapped, like, it doesn't negate the fact that he was still kind of awful to her. And I feel like in both of the episodes that we watched, it's Aladdin has to learn a lesson about how to be better and treating Jasmine better. The first one was, like, listening and treating her like a person rather than, like, a treasure, like a object. And then this one is just basic respect and decency and care and bare minimum fidelity. So, I don't know, it's a little bit I see where they were trying to go, and I feel like maybe it's just because it was the late 90s, well, mid 90s, it just didn't, like, they didn't quite get it all the way, didn't quite land correctly, especially in, like, 2026 now. I don't know. This one just didn't feel like it landed as well. But beautiful sunset ending. Delightful. And then now we're done. I think I said most of it during the episode, to be honest. I feel like this one's like a 3 out of 5. I really felt like the Garden of Evil did something super special. It was really thought-provoking, and it really did make you, like, it was morals, but it was also, like, the deal with the devil component was really interesting, and it was just, like, the motivations and the logistics of the villain, and it was just so much more compelling and interesting and well done. And this one was kind of janky a little bit. I mean, I love the premise in terms of the, like, underwater world, and I love the siren and, like, you know, all of the things, but I just feel like it was so hollow and shallow and kind of obsolete. Like, I don't know, it's below the bare minimum to have fidelity to your partner. And it was also, like, the messaging was really weird, because it started out with, like, you know, oh, like, we're making fun of Jasmine, she's upset, like, you know, you could do an entire episode about communication styles and, you know, how do you suss out what your partner needs, and how do you accommodate somebody when they're in, like, a stressful situation, or, you know, there's so many different things that if they wanted to focus on, like, positive relationship building and positive relationship communication, that would have been so good, so ahead of its time and delightful, and I would have loved to have seen that. And yeah, instead, though, they were talking shit about Jasmine behind her back, saying, like, oh, she should just get over it. Like, you know, yeah, we laughed at her, but, like, we didn't mean to make her upset, so, like, she should just get over it. And then Celine comes up, and Iago's like, oh, yeah, you should, like, tap that, like, she's so beautiful, look at her pearls, she's rich. And then Aladdin's like, maybe not, like, yeah, okay, she's beautiful, but like, I love Jasmine. And so like, and then the rest of the episode is just like vibes, you know. And I guess there's nothing wrong with just having vibes, because it was kind of fun vibes. Like, again, like, I really liked the writing for Celine. She had so many like quippy like little insert lines, and it was fun, but it was just, I don't know, like, it wasn't as evocative as the first one. Like, there wasn't a lot of stuff to this, I feel, which I am disappointed about, because yeah, I remember really loving this episode. But I think, you know what, for the mermaid, for the art, for the magical whimsy, great. For everything to do with the actual story, not so great. So I'm giving it a 3. If you're watching it in terms of just enjoying it, it's fun. It's great. There's so much to like, you know, it's a funny one, and there's stuff to enjoy and get out of it. But if you're watching it from the lens that I usually watch it from, in terms of like a critical analysis and character analysis kind of thing, and trying to like engage with it on not just the surface level and kind of, you know, extrapolate from these episodes, it really fell short of my expectations and my memory of this, because I really enjoyed it as a child. So I would probably watch The Garden of Evil again, because I really enjoyed that, but I don't think that I would watch this one again. If you haven't already, check out the Adult Colored Glasses episode of The Garden of Evil. I feel like there's a lot more in that episode to really like enjoy and kind of dive into. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, consider giving a like and subscribing to continue joining us on all of our adventures. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. Everything with love, and we'll see you next time in the treasure trove. Bye!